Former President Trump is promising to roll back President Biden's gun control measures if elected, while President Biden tries to ensure support among black voters. Biden gave the commencement speech at Morehouse College, a historically black college in Atlanta, over the weekend, while Trump spoke to supporters in Minnesota. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers joins me now for more. Karen, President Biden has been reaching out to black voters as of late, especially young black men. But his commencement speech at Morehouse garnered some mixed reaction. What stands out to you here?
You know, there was a lot of consternation ahead of the president's speech because some students and faculty were strongly opposed to the president coming down and delivering those remarks. Diane, this was the first time the president addressed students in that type of setting since campus protests have broken out on college campuses across the country. The president did not shy away from talking about the situation in Gaza, saying that he has called for an immediate ceasefire to bring hostages home. But there were silent protests at that address by the president. There were some students who turned their backs, turned their chairs while he was speaking. One professor stood up and stood on her chair, raised her right fist in protest, but otherwise there wasn't any disruptive protest like maybe some were anticipating. The leadership down there at Morehouse College had said they would shut down the commencement if there were things that got out of hand. The White House had said all along the president, of course, supports people's rights to protest and be heard.
And Trump once again told voters at his rally that he won Minnesota in 2020, even though he didn't. He is also promising to roll back President Biden's gun control measures if elected. How is that speech being received, and how big is this endorsement from the NRA for him?
You know, the NRA is maybe not as powerful as they were in previous election cycles. A lot of legal issues, much more embattled right now. But for the president, former president, this was a chance to go down there and give red meat political speech to a group that has been fiercely supportive of him. As you mentioned, he said he won Minnesota in 2020. He did not. He lost by 7 points. It was much closer in 2016 when he lost to Hillary Clinton by 2 points. But it was notable that he was campaigning in a state like that, given how limited time he has right now on the campaign trail with his trial continuing in New York. But at that remarks of the NRA, he said that he was going to roll back some of the gun actions that the Biden administration has taken. Of course, no surprise, the crowd there at the NRA really liked to hear that. He talked more about election fraud, the election being rigged, and even compared some of the Biden administration's actions on guns and restrictions to his own indictment. So, Diane, it's again a lot about Donald Trump and not necessarily the policies, but about what has been happening to him right now and his legal issues.
Now, both Biden and Trump are historically unpopular right now. So how are they trying to close that gap before the election? And do they have to?
Yeah, different strategies right now from both sides. You've got the former president sitting in a courtroom right now in New York. So, of course, he has limited time where he can get out on the campaign trail. So what they're trying to do is get him out there, rev up his base, and try to really lock down his supporters from 2020, make sure they turn out. The Biden campaign says that their strategy is different, that they are reaching out to independent voters, the voters that will decide this election in a way that the Trump campaign is not. Now, the Biden campaign, of course, gets a lot of questions about the polls right now. Battleground state polls that show the president trailing Donald Trump by many points in some of the key states. They say it is early. They're dismissing those polls, and they feel that their organization, the money they have to spend, and the staff they have will make a difference come November.
All right, Karen Travers, thank you.